Welcome back. Live at 5. Could tariffs on foreign films supercharge Georgia's movie economy? Well, some producers say yes, arguing it would drive more productions back to the Peach State.
But others warn it could do the opposite. Atlanta News First reporter Abby Kasouris reports from Trilith Studios.
Georgia's film industry is worth billions of dollars. There's a debate on whether tariffs on foreign movies would protect places like this or if they would harm them. Blockbusters like Spider-Man and Avengers were filmed here at Trilith Studios. The coffee shops, restaurants, and apartments are built around film workers spending their paychecks right here.
And then they just never really got going again.
Film producer Eddie Matthews says the slowdown is real. Between higher production costs and a writer's strike, Georgia's film economy dropped from $4.4 billion in 2023 to $2.7 billion last year, even with one of the nation's most generous incentives, a tax credit of up to 30% for productions that spend here. Matthews says it's still cheaper to film overseas.
But if Trump's tariffs kick in, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be booming.
But others say tariffs could backfire.
Tax experts don't even know how a tariff would be implied or applicable to a service like this. And if it was, that really opens Pandora's box.
Jeslyn Moyer, president of Georgia Entertainment, says most major films are made across multiple countries and states. Take Superman. Filmed abroad, but its post-production was done right here at Trilith. Instead of tariffs, she argues more incentives are what keep productions on U.S. soil.
From Savannah to Gainesville, where the Ozarks, to Covington with Vampire Diaries.
If the tariff proposal moves forward, it would be one of the first times a U.S. president has targeted a service instead of a physical product. And for Georgia, the stakes go beyond movie theaters. Industry leaders say they'll be watching the tariffs closely to see if they'll create a boom or a breakdown, not just felt by film sets, but also in the neighborhoods surrounding them. At Trilith Studios, I'm Abby Kasouris.